Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
Molly Bay.
Today is April 13th, 2020. We'll say it's almost stimulus check day.
How many days till kickoff, Ralph?
Oh, man.
Where are you at?
I know.
Come on. Out of practice.
153 days till we get to see the Buccaneers kick off if we're all not dead from the beer virus.
I feel like it wasn't even on your brain because everything's just up in the air. We don't know.
Don't know what?
Whether there's going to be a football season.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be one. I'm positive.
I think so, too.
But
I've been wrong before.
What? Can we repeat that? I'm going to put that on loop.
Shut up.
Yeah. All right, today we're going to be covering the Know Your Enemy with the Carolina Panthers. But first, we want to cover some news. Don't have any fact checks or follow-ups because we were absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, big news. Falcons unveiled their new uniform, and nobody likes them.
I know.
That was the bigger news. I am so happy about this. It's like everybody's uniforms is sucking, except ours are awesome.
You like them, though, Falcons.
The Falcons do. I like the gradient one. I'm weird like that. But.
Okay, here's what's awesome is that now the Falcons have shitty uniforms in our division, and the Panthers are in rebuild mode. So it's like all the shit that we've been dealing with as Bucs fans for the last, 10 years. It's happening to everyone else in our division, and it's glorious.
It's great.
Fantastic.
Hey, everything goes in cycles, right?
It does. Hopefully. You saw that Carolina Panthers reaction video to the
that was hilarious.
Falcons new uniforms. They had the video of the Falcons unveiling, and then it showed a clip from The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. And it was like...
The uniforms look exactly the same.
They do.
And they were laughing over top of it the whole time. And it was from their official Twitter account. That was hilarious.
So, well done, Panthers marketing team.
That's the last time we'll ever say that.
I don't know. Panthers. They did a really good job. No, the Falcons did a good job with the schedule rollout last year.
J.C. Cornell tweeted out that he can confirm that the Bucs trade rumors are correct. They want to move up to secure an elite offensive tackle in the draft.
I saw that too, and I did not bookmark that tweet because everyone has so much conjecture and rumor this time of year.
Yeah, it's the usual. I wasn't going to mention it, but I figured what the heck.
But we ignored all the Tom Brady stuff too, and look what happened.
Right. I think it was Cornell that was the first to break that. I'm not sure. I'm probably totally wrong with that. But anyhow, he's been kind of iffy with some of his predictions, but here recently it seems like he's been spot on, so I figured I'd go ahead and mention it.
Yeah. Did you hear the stats about the Bucs uniforms, how awesome they did? The day that we unveiled our new uniforms, this is per Ian Rappaport, more Tampa Bay merchandise was sold yesterday on the 8th, so the day after This is a tweet by Ian, that's why it's so disjointed. I'm out of practice, too. Okay, so the day after the Bucs unveiled their new uniforms, more Tampa Bay merchandise was sold than the previous 17 days combined.
Sweet. And most of that was Brady jerseys and the pewter, I think.
I know. The sales of Brady's merchandise spiked over 3,000%. Then he is also the top-selling athlete across all sports, and the Bucs are the top-selling team.
What?
When has that ever happened?
I know. I saw somebody had got their jersey and posted it online. Not the pewter one, but it was a dark red one with Brady on it. And everybody's getting emails saying that the jerseys might not go out till September. But it appears that some people are getting them. They're starting to trickle in. So we decided not to order them until... We didn't want to order them now and then wait till September. So we were going to wait till they get in stock. But I might be rethinking that strategy.
I think they probably just want to give themselves enough leeway. Like, it's probably not going to take that long, but things are a little uncertain now. So they don't want to overpromise. Because think about how disappointed and upset people would be if that happened.
Oh, yeah, you
They
are
would be
expected to be here in a week or
the
so.
Glazers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right, there's a report that the NFL is going to eliminate reviewable pass interference calls after one season.
that's funny. Is that because the Saints whined too much? It went full circle.
Yeah, I know. Well, that I said this when the referees did their CBA a couple years ago, and it kind of got swept under the rug. It wasn't that big of a deal. No. This was when they had the scab refs. No, the scab refs, yes. I think they buckled, the NFL did, to the referees, and it gave the referees too much power. And this is a perfect example, because it wasn't that the reviews were skewed or off, or coaches were manipulating them or whatever. It was the booth would not overturn anything, because if you listen to Pat McCaffrey, he was talking about the guy that does the reviews did not want there to be reviewable pass interference calls, so he just refused to overturn any of them. And so the refs basically got what they wanted. They didn't want this to be a thing in the rule book, so now it won't be.
So is that a done deal, or are they just considering it?
No, they're not even going to vote on it again, because they did it for 1 year and then they were going to vote on it.
So basically they're just not extending it.
Right,
or
it's going
renewing
to lapse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that was a failed experiment. Thank God.
Well, it could have been a good thing.
Right. I mean, if they didn't have incentive to get that right when you could review it, they don't have any incentive to ever get it right.
Nah.
But surprisingly, when they had to review it, they were worse.
I know.
Like, how does that happen?
I think they did it on purpose, I think. All right, the competition committee proposals are in for the NFL. We got some 2020 rules change proposals that clubs will consider at upcoming league meetings. The competition committee has submitted this. They want to expand defensive player protection to a kickoff or punt returner who is in possession of the ball, but who has not had time to avoid or ward off the impending contact of an opponent. I'm sure that won't be a complete mess.
What does that even mean? How do you ward an attack off?
It's more...
Is it like Dungeons and Dragons?
you roll dice.
You roll some
dice. And the
dice.
Dungeon Master goes, how do we even know how to play Dungeons and Master?
I mean, you went far. I didn't even know there was dice in this. Nerd.
The other competition committee proposal is to prevent teams from manipulating the game clock by committing multiple dead ball fouls while the clock is running.
That's bull.
Well, that's, anything to get at the Patriots, although the Patriots had it done to them by Tennessee, I think it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was great. And boy, did Belichick get pissed. Okay, now the Philadelphia Eagles have proposed some changes. They want to modify the blindside block rule to prevent unnecessary fouls.
They need to get rid of the blindside block rule.
I know. Keep your head on a swivel. That should be the rule. Make permanent the expansion of automatic replay reviews to include scoring plays and turnovers negated by a foul and any successful or unsuccessful try attempt. Now, I agree with that.
I like that one.
Yeah, they should definitely do that.
That's a good one. How many did we get screwed on that way?
All of them. Provide an alternative to the onside kick that would allow a team who is trailing in the game an opportunity to maintain possession of the ball after scoring.
That's really vague.
Basically 4th and 15 from the kicking team's 25-yard line.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. They want to restore preseason and regular season overtime to 15 minutes and implement rules to minimize the impact of the overtime coin toss. Boy, that one has just been a mess, the whole overtime stuff.
But I think that they've kind of mitigated it by saying that you have to score a touchdown on the first possession to end the game.
I think the way they've got it now is about as good as you can get.
I think so too. So what do the Eagles want to happen? Do they want you to be able to score a touchdown and then the other team get a chance to score too?
Don't know. They want to...
It's a very vague request.
Yeah, they want to restore it to 15 minutes overtime maximum and just implement rules to minimize the impact of the coin toss. I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell does that even mean?
It's the Eagles. We know they're all a bunch of whack jobs, so...
Whiny babies.
Miami Dolphins have proposed providing the option to the defense for the game clock to start on the referee's signal if the defense declines an offensive penalty that occurs late in either half. Yeah, so I guess that's an issue that Miami got stung with. Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Chargers, the Chargers, with their new logo. What a disaster.
That's the Rams.
Oh, the
new
Rams.
logo.
Yeah, the Rams
They
look like
the
the
same.
Chargers, right? And they're playing each other this year, so that's going to be interesting to see. Everybody's going to be confused as to who's catching, who's throwing. Okay. They both want to add a booth umpire as an eighth game official to the officiating crew.
That's what we need, more bureaucracy.
More bureaucracy. Let's just stack it on. And they want to add a senior technology advisor to the referee to assist the officiating crew.
None of them can work their iPhones.
They're still out there with the rotary phones. Have you seen them? They're like police now. They've got so much crap on their belts.
They have so much crap. They got their finger whistles and then the little...
to rape whistles.
That's a reference to the other guys.
Yeah.
The string on their hand, which I think that's separate from the finger whistle.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's how they keep track of what
the
down it is.
hats, that's an important piece of equipment.
Yeah, because they throw
got
that
their
down.
Flags.
Yep.
And then the little blue chip thing that they throw out.
Yep, the turn of possession
That's just
flag.
crazy.
Yeah. Then they got the mic pack where they talk to each other. They've got the mic pack where they get from the booth. And then they have the buzzer for when the coaches want to challenge a play. So they look like Batman out there with their utility belts.
Not as cool. The lamest Batman on the planet.
Ah.
Like the hall monitor Batman.
Oh my God, the Crossing Guard.
Yeah.
That's it. That's their superhero name, Crossing Guard, Captain Crossing Guard. So we'll see how much of that's going to get in there. I'm sure the competition committee suggestions will be the expanding the defensive player protection and prevent teams from manipulating the game clock. That's just hilarious. See, I love stuff like that when coaches can finagle and strategize. You know, they keep taking stuff out like that. It's just not going to make it any fun for us strategy guys.
See, here's the problem is...
Tell us what the problem is.
Coaches that are not innovative get beat by that shit and it pisses them off.
Yeah.
And so they throw temper tantrums because they're getting beat by better men.
Right.
And so they want to take that element out of it. No, I don't think that's right.
Nope.
That's what makes it fun. You just never know.
Yeah. It was like Call of Duty. Call of Duty got big with Modern Warfare 2.
That's when Ralph coincidentally started playing it.
And that's when everybody started playing it.
So that's when it really hit off.
But there was so much cheating in that game that it was fun. There were people that liked to cheat, but then there were people like me who liked to punish the cheaters. So I'd run around with rocket launchers and find these guys who were boosting, they would call it, where they were shooting each other and with their...
You're going too far down that rabbit hole.
But, it just made it so that no matter what your style was, whether you like to camp or you like to use the boomstick to drop grenades on people or you like to snipe, whatever you like to do, it was available in that game. And you get pissed off when you got grenaded by one of them grenade launchers. But there was ways to beat it. And you just had to figure it out. And that's what I like about football because it's a very complex sport. There's all kinds of different ways to win, lose. It's not totally dependent on... the strongest and the fastest. And it's also one of the very few sports where you've got all different size people can play it. I mean, you look at basketball, baseball, boxing, they're all...
Racing.
Yeah, racing. I mean, you ain't got no big guys racing.
Tony Stewart was...
No, he was small.
Chubby.
He was big for a racer. But, it's like jockeys on horses. You have to be a solid... But with football, you can be small, big, skinny, muscular... whatever. There's always a position out there if you can play the game. That's how I like about it. And that's how I like about the coaching too, because you can coach in any number of different ways.
It's like a chess match. I mean, there's always a counter.
And the more they whittle away at it, the more they're going to make the game more interesting for people such as myself. Tom Brady seeks trademarks for Tampa Bay and Tampa Brady.
I hate it.
Well, I think he's just kind of gotten business oriented and he's focused on anything and everything. I don't know if he's going to use them, but yeah, Tampa Bay is kind of silly. Tampa Brady is kind of cool.
Well, I read that someone else was seeking the trademarks on those names. So
the Tampa Brady one. I'm pretty sure it was that one. And they actually filed before Tom Brady did.
I know, so I wonder how that's going to go.
Chances are pretty good.
Well, he's probably got better lawyers, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tom Brady, he is already involving himself in the community. Tom and Giselle donated 750,000 meals to children, families, and seniors in the Tampa area.
Yes, and that's on top of the $1 million they gave to the other meal program that we talked about on the last podcast. And they did a charity, too, where he went on and played poker live, charity event, and got knocked out, immediately. Yeah. He was a good sport about it, though.
Yeah, football's his thing. Maybe not poker.
Right. There was a big kerfuffle about Jameis Winston. He put a video up. He's been putting all these videos up showing him training, because of his injuries. He had a knee surgery during the offseason. He had his eye surgery during the offseason. He's got a broken thumb. Did he get surgery on that?
I don't recall.
I don't recall either. So anyhow, there's issues with his physical preparedness. So he's been putting out all these videos showing him working out and showing that he can move around and all that
marketing material.
Yeah. Well, and also because, right now teams can't check him out. It's really a bad situation for him in the sense that he can't go and present himself physically to teams. I think that's really hurting his chances of getting.
Yeah, Cam Newton's kind of in that same boat,
too.
Right.
But Cam Newton's a jerk, so. That's what happens when you play for opponents.
That's right.
You become a jerk automatically. So anyhow, Jameis Winston put this video up of his trainer. He was in front of what looked like a big, huge speed bag, or as some people pointed out, a large scrotum. And Jameis Winston was sitting there in football position, quarterback position, like he's going to throw the ball. And this guy's swinging this big bag at him. And Jameis Winston's ducking and all that. I have no idea what that was supposed to do, but, I'm not a professional quarterback, so I don't know how effective it would be to practice that. Anyhow, an old quarterback.
David Carr.
Is
Derek Carr's brother.
Old, I think he was from the Oregon Ducks, drafted first overall, I think.
Was he?
Yeah, can't remember who he went to. Texans, I think. Yeah, got sacked all the time, if I'm recalling this correctly. But anyhow, he was like, hey, Jameis, good idea here on the board of advice. Don't have your friends come up with weird workout routines for you. You're going to get hurt, basically. And then, of course, everybody piled on Carr because they're like, yeah, who are you to talk? You sucked, But Jenna Lane came out and she tweeted that the guy that was doing that was not a friend of his. It was former NFL defensive end Otis Leverett, who has been training him for basically his whole career. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he needs to get a new trainer just on that right there, because if you watch any of my videos, Jameis Winston's not the most graceful person on the planet, and
Well, in that whole exercise, he was practicing doing things that he should not be doing during the game. And it's kind of part of his problem, which Ralph pointed out in the last video. You can actually see him doing some of the stuff in the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's like he shouldn't be practicing that. He should be eliminating that from his game.
Right. If anything, he needs to be practicing standing there while the bag hits him.
Right.
No, seriously. I mean, I think he needs to learn how to do that and not get frantic, and he needs to be able to focus at throwing the ball and not worried about people coming after him. I think it was a big issue with him. I just found it interesting how Jenna Lane jumped in the scrum and called that guy out.
Jameis did too. Jameis basically told him to go pound sand if he didn't have anything constructive to say. Which, good for him. I don't know that I've ever seen him do that in his career.
No.
With the Bucs. So,
yeah.
And he was very nice about it, actually.
Yeah, that's one thing you got to hand it to Jameis Winston, man. He's been a class act throughout all this. He hasn't said a derogatory word about the Buccaneers or anybody in the front office, coaching staff, nothing. Matter of fact, he was praising them. He was like, hey, I see it as a compliment that I got replaced by the GOAT, Tom Brady. That's awesome. That's awesome. You're not seeing the Josh Freeman treatment from him. And, he seems like he's the kind of guy that he doesn't get too offended by stuff like that. It's just water off a duck's back to him. So it was interesting to see him come back at Carr. But like you said, he did it in a polite way. Greg Allman had pointed out that, speaking of Jameis Winston, that Jameis Winston ranked 5th in the NFL in total sacks taken since the start of 2015. The interesting thing was that there were 4 people ahead of him And here they are. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and Matt Ryan.
Interesting.
All very good quarterbacks. But they all have fewer fumbles.
But his fumbles aren't even that bad. It's like 5 a year, maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't know, one every 3 games.
When you combine that with the interceptions.
Yeah, they kind of get lost in the interceptions, I think.
Yeah, nobody's ever talking about Winston's fumbles because
No.
he's got so many interceptions that occupies the brain there.
Drew Brees has signed a contract with NBC Sports over ESPN, so he's probably going to replace, after he retires from the Saints, he's going to replace Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football.
That's a very strange thing to come out with this early. You know, I mean, that's over a year away.
At least a year,
away,
yeah.
So I wonder why that was leaked and put out there.
Well, and then the whole ESPN thing where it fell through with Peyton Manning, too. Like, nobody wants to go to ESPN, apparently.
Yeah, ESPN sucks. Gosh, I remember when they used to be the best sports thing to ever. Basically, the only sports channel. Man, I used to love ESPN. Boy, did they turn into some crap.
Well, they're just full of a bunch of blowhards, you know?
Nah. All right, so what do we got as far as the Carolina Panthers, Molly?
Speaking of blowhards.
we love digging it to our opponents, don't we?
Yes, that's the point. All right, we got our Know Your Enemy today with the Carolina Panthers. This one's going to be fun. They have the most turnover churn going on over there. They are in complete rebuild.
But you know what? Before we get into that, let's hear a word from our sponsors. If you're thinking about making a podcast, I would highly suggest Anchor.fm. They are a great podcasting platform.
The absolute best feature of it is that it is free.
They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
You don't have to worry about distribution because Anchor will distribute it for you. They'll put it on platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
And it's everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place.
So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started right now.
We all know about the coaching turmoil occurring at the Panthers.
Yeah, but can't ever get enough news on that.
I know.
Love it.
I didn't delve into the coaching staff. I just went to the coordinator position, and that's basically it. So let's talk about Matt Rule. We kind of went over this when he got hired, but just to recap. And then actually I'm more interested in his coordinators. They're pretty interesting. Matt Rule is from Baylor. He, before that, was at Temple. He was with both for 3 years. His first year at Baylor, he finished 1-11. That was in, I know, bad.
Jeez.
That was in 2017. And it was a similar thing when he was at Temple. He kind of did bad. Second year, he went 7-6 and had a bowl berth. And then his third year, he went 11-3, appeared in the Big 12 championship and the Sugar Bowl. So it does seem like he's got a track record for turning teams around. It doesn't happen fast. It just does take a couple years. So this year, I think we can pretty safely say that it's going to be a rebuild, although we've been burned by this before. So I'm not going to say it's a certainty that they're going to be terrible, but
I will. Screw it.
there's a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
Hey, we were right about it last year.
Yes,
that
we
they were
were.
going to suck.
We nailed that one on points, but we didn't nail that the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be good.
Yeah, that Pat Mahomes, such a bust. They kept their special teams coordinator, Chase Blackburn. It's his 5th year in the NFL as a coach, and
That's a weird thing to keep, the special teams
I
coordinator.
know, and their special teams was not great last year. Although, okay, so Football Outsiders has them ranked, their special teams was 31st in 2019.
Oh my gosh.
I know. But they were 18th in 2018. Now, their rankings does include, like, scoring, and if you think about it, like, Carolina wasn't winning a whole lot of games. They weren't scoring a lot. So
Right.
that could be part of the factor why they were so bad in 2019. In any case, they've got some consistency in that area. Their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, first of all, this man is a baby. He's 30. He's only 30.
What?
31. Born September 23rd, 1989. He looks like Ron Weasley.
Maybe he's going to pull out the wand and do some magic.
You got no better Harry Potter reference
No,
than that.
no.
I mean, you're pulling out all the stops for Dungeons and Dragons. And
I know about as much about Harry Potter as I do Dungeons and Dragons. I know there's wands involved in both.
yeah.
Are Harry Potter fan? You're a Harry Potter fan. How come
Yes.
you're not into Dungeons and Dragons?
That was
It's like the
before my
same-
time.
Okay.
It wasn't cool.
I wonder if Joe Brady is into Dungeons and Dragons.
He looks like he might be. So last year, he was the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach at LSU.
Another college coach.
Yeah, he's a college coach. He had one season at LSU. That was it, last season.
Is he married to the head coach's daughter or something?
I don't know.
How did he get the job?
I don't know. Hold on. We'll talk about that in a second. He helped coach Joe Burrow, who's the
Quarterback.
big guy in this draft
Yeah.
that everyone's excited about. And Joe Burrow won the Heisman. The Tigers went undefeated that year, and they won the college football playoff game over Clemson. They finished the season with college football's top-rated offense. They averaged 568.5 yards a game and 48.4 points per game.
A lot of points.
Yeah, but I mean, it's college. That's not impressive to me. They finished second in passing offense, and Joe Burrow set a new single-season record with 60 passing touchdowns.
So what was Joe Brady? He's the new offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. What was he at LSU during this time?
Wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator.
Good grief, that's a huge jump to go from wide receiver coach to offensive coordinator of an NFL team.
Yeah. But it looks to me, because of what they've done in free agency, they're really focusing on the passing game. It looks to me like they are kind of shifting their offense. It's like when you break up with someone and then you go the exact opposite. Like, that's what they're doing with their team. They're saying, fuck defense. We don't need a defense anymore. And let's sling this thing. That's what they're doing.
Let it rip.
Let it rip.
That's funny. So instead of Cam Newton, they're going to get a short, skinny white guy.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. Who dresses very well. Because Cam Newton was a horrible dresser.
Oh my God. So they picked up this wide receiver in free agency, and he's got the same stupid sideshow bob hair that Cam Newton did
Oh, no.
in his picture. And I even put that in my notes. He's got a dumb haircut. Why? Joe Brady spent 2 years at New Orleans with the Saints before
So he
coached at LSU.
So he does have some NFL experience.
Minimal, yeah. He was an offensive assistant, so.
Okay.
But he worked with head coach Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So he's got that going for him. Gives him a competitive advantage. He coached at his alma mater, William & Mary, where he coached linebackers from 2013 to 2014.
Oh, so he's got work on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. And he played for William & Mary, too. He was a wide receiver.
I was going to say kicker, but...
He was a wide receiver, I think it was from 2009 to 2012. But William & Mary, I don't know that they have a very robust football program. I just can't get over that he's 30 years old and...
Offensive coordinator.
Offensive
for
coordinator.
NFL team, yeah.
But, look at Sean McVay
Yeah.
with the Rams. I mean, he's the boy wonder.
Well, how old is the Carolina Panthers head coach?
He's not I would say he's probably early 40s.
Rule? Rahule?
I just Googled it. He's 45.
Okay.
Spot on, Molly.
Pat yourself on the back. Don't hurt your arm. Twist it.
So, what Joe Brady has in Utes, they've gone the other way on the defense.
You got a bunch of old people.
They do.
Oh, crickety.
They brought in Phil Snow as defensive coordinator. He is
I remember Phil Snow back in the war.
He has 37 years of collegiate coaching experience.
So he's a college coach, too.
So he's been coaching longer than Joe Brady has been alive. He was Matt Rule's defensive coordinator at Baylor for the last 3 years. And then before that, they coached for 7 years together at Temple. No, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. They have coached for 7 years together overall. So they were at Temple together, Baylor, and I guess a year before that. He's been with 7 schools at the college level. And he did also coach 4 seasons at the Detroit Lions. From 2005 to 2008, he was the linebackers coach.
All right. Wasn't that in the period where they went 0-16?
Probably there's a good chance, yes.
Yeah, we got a winner on our hands over there in Carolina. He coached he was with the coaching staff at the 2008 Lions when they went 0-16. So there we go.
Well, that was his last year in the NFL, so.
Probably a reason why.
You know, and the Carolina Panthers put this part in his bio, which I thought they should have left off. In 2009, Baylor ranked 41st in the nation in total defense.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's not a good stuff. I know that there's a lot of colleges, but it
4,720 college football teams, so he's up in the top 1%.
41st, so there we go. But they did finish 2nd in turnovers, 3rd in interceptions, 8th in sacks per game, and 5th in turnover margin. So
interesting.
that's the coaching
They just can't
staff.
stop anybody from scoring,
Yeah,
apparently. Well, we'll have fun with that.
Well, they didn't really need to because their offense could put up a lot of points.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Our defense is going to eat them alive.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we play Carolina early in the season so we get that easy win under our belt.
I know.
Boost our confidence.
Their cap situation.
Oh my gosh, you were telling me this earlier.
First
this is
of all,
incredible.
They have $48 million in dead cap space.
That is incredible. That is bad money management right there.
Yeah, so their adjusted salary cap is $208 million.
They're checking their mail right now for that government stimulus check. Because they're like, we
got to pay some bills.
We got to pay some bills. $48 million.
$48 million.
That's a quarter of their salary cap is going to players that aren't even on their team anymore.
Right.
Wow.
So, I mean, there was an extensive list of people on there, but it was very top heavy. They've got an $11.8 million cap hit for Kuechly, who of course retired. But also remember that
if he retired, there's still a cap hit?
But remember last season, in the offseason, he restructured his contract so that they would have more cap space. So I am all for this because it's what they negotiated at that point.
Interesting. Yeah, so he probably knew he was going to retire, and he was like, let's
get
take
another
my salary.
paycheck, right.
We'll put it off for a year.
And then they're also paying $9.8 million for Matt Khalil, who's no longer on the team.
Didn't he retire too?
Well, oh God, I can't remember. Because there's 2 Khalils, and I think the one, they were brothers. Mm-hmm. The one went to, I think he retired and then went to the Jets. He retired from Carolina. It was like a big dramatic thing.
That's this guy, isn't it?
Well, there's Matt, and then I think there's Ryan. Yeah, I think Ryan was the one that retired.
Oh, okay. So this Matt Khalil went to the Texans?
He's like the younger brother.
Yeah, he went to the Texans. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
He was with Carolina from 17 to 18. So they're still paying him? It's 2020. They still got to pay him. That's terrible.
Okay. The Carolina Panthers have the Bank of America Stadium. Maybe they should hire somebody from the bank to manage their money.
Woo. They've also got $9.59 million for Trey Turner, who they traded this year, which I will get to that later.
What do they got for Cam Newton?
His cap hit is only $2 million.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's surprising. I thought that.
I did too, but maybe there's more next year. I don't know. At this point, April 13th, Carolina has $17.8 million in available cap space, and that includes their draft and the people that they've signed thus far. Now, they did jettison a lot of players. So they had 35 total free agents, which is a lot. Like normally, I think last year in the 20s was what we were seeing across the division. And so 35, that's a pretty good number. I'm going to go through unit by unit, position by position, and we will talk about the moves that they've made. We'll start with the offense and quarterback. Of course, they cut Cam Newton. They signed Teddy Bridgewater. They also signed P.J. Walker from the XFL. And then, this was really weird. They extended Kyle Allen a year. They gave him an extension for a year. And then 2 weeks later, they traded him to the Redskins.
Yes.
Which I thought that was kind of messed up. If I were Kyle Allen, I'd be a little upset. But it seems like it's a pretty good bet that he is Ron Rivera's guy.
From what I've heard, Ron Rivera is definitely going to have a competition between the two quarterbacks, and Ron Rivera likes Kyle Allen, so
Right, that's his guy.
yeah, good chance he's going to be the starting quarterback.
You always hate to see that with young guys that get drafted pretty high, and then they're just kind of a casualty of the coaching turnover.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with Glennon.
Yeah, I remember when Sean King, he was our quarterback, did pretty good, took us to the playoffs. And then John Gruden comes in and got Brad Johnson, and King was out.
Was he always salty about that?
I don't know, but he apparently started liking the food because he blew up, man. He's a big old guy now.
We got news today that Christian McCaffrey was extended. It is a monster of a contract for a running back. It's made him the highest paid in the NFL history. Which was kind of surprising because it's like, what, $16 million a year? Yeah, it's not even that much.
Well,
I guess for a running back,
yeah. But I could have sworn, I was like, man, it seems like there's been running backs that have gotten more than $16 million a year.
That's how I felt, too. But it is a $64 million contract. He's averaging $16 million a year. It was a 4-year contract extension. He still had a couple years left on his initial contract.
Yeah,
which I think that he really deserved to get paid. I mean,
they were smart to wrap him up.
Yeah.
That's the last time you'll ever hear me say that.
He's been carrying that offense for at least a year, so.
Shifty little dude.
Yeah, we don't know yet what the guaranteed numbers are yet, so. They also extended running back Reggie Bonifon 1 year. So, some depth there. Where they've really made some moves is in the wide receiver core. And I, seeing this, would not be surprised if they go after a stud in the draft. Because last year with Cam, of course, he's got his noodle arm, so that didn't help his receivers. But
I'm going to miss Cam Newton.
I know.
It's fun ragging on him.
Yeah. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is a little harder to rag on. That's true.
Yeah, there's really nothing there.
We still got Drew Brees, though, so that's cool. They've made a ton of moves with wide receivers. They signed our boy Ishmael Hyman, who was a Buccaneer.
Hyman!
It's just a reserves contract, so...
Okay.
It's not a done deal for him, but they picked up, this is the guy with the goofy hair, wide receiver Robbie Anderson from the Jets.
From the Jets, yeah.
Drafted by them in 2016. Last year, he earned $4.7 million, and he averaged about 50 yards a game in his first 4 years, so...
I only know him because of fantasy football.
Yeah. They pay, it's a 2-year contract worth $20 million.
He's like Rashard Perriman.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's kind of a prove-it contract.
That's a lot to get somebody to prove it. $10 million a year. I'll prove something for $10 million a year. What do you want me to prove?
His base salary is $4 million, and then he had a $4 million signing bonus. So it's an $8 million cap hit this year. Not too bad. I don't see him like as a starting caliber, though. I feel like they're going to go after somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you said, they're really gearing up to start ripping the ball down the field.
Yeah. They signed wide receiver Seth Roberts from Baltimore. That one is a 1-year, $3.75 million deal.
Never heard of him.
They re-signed DeAndrew White on a 1-year, $825,000 deal. They signed Keith Kirkwood from New Orleans. That is a 1-year, $800,000 deal.
Man, bunch of 1-year deals here.
Yeah. They signed Pharaoh Cooper from Arizona. That is also a 1-year deal worth $1.2 million. So, like I said, they don't have a stud receiver.
Right.
So I would not be shocked to see them go after one in the draft.
Yeah.
They have unsigned wide receiver free agents in Jarius Wright and Chris Hogan, who isn't Chris Hogan somebody from New Orleans?
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah. I meant New England because he's like an Edelman, Amendola kind of size. And he did from 16 to 18.
Just off the tip of your head.
Right,
there, yeah.
Exactly.
It's amazing in how you can remember stuff like that.
They're cleaning house with their tight ends, too. Of course, they got rid of Greg Olsen, who went to Seattle. They also got rid of Marcus Ball, who went to Washington, rejoined Ron Rivera there. They have signed Seth DeValve from Jacksonville, and that is a 1-year, $1 million deal. And then they've also got free agent Dylan Gordon that they have not yet re-signed.
Man, that's a lot of 1-year deals.
That's kind of what we did last year.
Yeah, it's true.
They've also jettisoned a lot of guys from their offensive line, which last year their offensive line was not great anyway. Like I said earlier, Trey Turner got traded to the Chargers for tackle Russell Okung. They waived Garrett McGinn. Their right tackle, Darrell Williams, was a free agent. He went to Buffalo on a 1-year deal. Greg Van Roten, who was guard, went to the Jets on a 3-year, $10.5 million deal. They signed John Miller from Cincinnati. He's a 27-year-old guard. That is a 1-year deal worth $4 million. And then they've got 2 unsigned free agents in guard Brandon Green and guard Kit O'Brien. So they've got a lot of turnover on their offensive line.
That's a lot. Trey Turner, he's good.
Well, they got rid of him.
I know. Well, Russell Okung, he's not too bad either, but
right.
Their guard spot is totally vacant now. Craig Van Roten, I liked him too. Roten? You said Roten.
I did say Roten.
I said Roten.
It just looked phonetically
yeah, it does.
like Roten.
Roten.
So that's it on their offense. Although I say that's it, it was a lot of turnover.
So basically, Christian McCaffrey is the only player they have.
Yeah.
Offense. One that's played with this team before, and 2 that has a contract longer than a year.
Yeah, basically. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun this year.
I mean, you really do expect it with a new coach and especially an offensive-minded coach, but this is just
this level. It never works out when you blow up your offensive line ever.
Yeah, ask Lovie Smith how that went.
Yeah, right. Ugh. They're shooting for a top pick next year, I bet.
Maybe
2021
get a
top
new
draft
quarterback.
Pick. Yeah. They got their eye on somebody. Probably the quarterback from
Baylor.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, Charlie Brewer was the quarterback for Baylor under Matt Rule. And he's going to be eligible for the draft next year. So,
Interesting.
Interesting.
I'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Yep, they're tanking for Brewer.
Choking for Charlie.
Choking for Charlie. That's a good one.
All right, that wraps it up for offense. For special teams, they had 1. They extended their kicker, Joey Sly, 1 year. Now, on defense, it's about the same as it was on offense.
Yeah, there's nobody left on
Basically,
defense.
everybody's gone.
Kuechly's gone.
At safety, they released Eric Reed. They signed Justin Burris from Cleveland. It was a 2-year, $8 million deal. Their free safety, Colin Jones, he is a free agent and is currently unsigned. At linebacker, of course, they lost Kuechly to retirement.
And paying him $11 million
Yeah.
for the privilege.
That's on them, though. That's what and this is why Jason Light doesn't do that.
Right, yeah.
Because that's what happens.
That's what happens.
They lost outside linebacker Bruce Irvin to Seattle. This one's weird because that happened like midway through March, and the details of his contract are not out there yet. And I think it probably has to do with the current circumstances and the NFL physicals being difficult. So I suspect that's the case. I don't have any information that confirms that, but
conspiracy theory time.
Outside linebacker Mario Addison went to Buffalo on a 3-year, $30.45 million deal.
Wow, this is just going to be a totally different team.
Yeah, completely. They signed linebacker Tahir Whitehead from the Las Vegas Rams. That's a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. The defensive line is where there is a ton of turnover.
You said the Las Vegas Rams?
Yes. I know. So on Spot Rack, they just show the initials of each team, like to and from, and it was LVR. And it really confused me
So are you saying the Rams or the Raiders?
Oh, the Raiders.
Okay.
Did I say the Rams before?
Yeah, you were confusing me.
Oh,
but there's
okay.
so much movement in the league now. I don't know who's playing where. So I was like, damn, is Vegas getting 2 teams? No.
Okay. I saw the
Okay.
R. It just came out. I don't know.
So it's
Loss.
LVR.
Yeah, LVR. Yeah, it was super confusing.
Lover.
Oh, it does look like Lover. That's so gay. So yeah, to hear Whitehead, I lost my place completely. To hear Whitehead from the Raiders, not the Rams.
Okay.
On the defensive line, everybody's gone.
Everybody, they all went to Dallas.
Everybody. They did extend F.A. Obata, defensive end, 1 year. Gerald McCoy, of course, went to Dallas on a 3-year, $18.3 million deal. Don Terry Poe joins him. Those contract details are also not made public yet. Defensive tackle Vernon Butler went to Buffalo on a 2-year, $15 million deal. But they have made moves to replace these people. So they signed defensive tackle Zach Kerr from Arizona on a 2-year, $3 million deal. And then they also signed defensive end Stephen Weatherly from Minnesota. That is a 2-year, $12.5 million deal. Defensive tackle Kyle Love and Stacy McGee are both unsigned free agents for the Panthers. So they haven't brought them back yet. Probably won't.
Maybe Kyle Love will go to the LVR, the Lovers.
That just totally changes the whole persona of the Raiders because, like, before now they're like tough.
The black hole.
And, yeah, they're like
Now they're the beating hearts.
I just imagine them like dressed as Cupid, like in black.
That's going to be their mascot, Cupid. They're going to be throwing roses on the field, the fans are.
Oh, that is so bad.
It is bad. It would suck to be a Raiders fan right now. I'm not going to lie. Having your team go to Vegas.
Yeah, because they have a really loyal fan base, too. I can see doing it to a team like the Rams or the Chargers, who their fan base is kind of dwindling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the Raiders, I mean, they stick with that team through thick and thin. They show up.
Yeah.
Then you're just going to move on.
Yeah, well, I mean, they bounced around in California for a long time. I mean, they were the L.A. Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, but, you know, going to Vegas, it's completely out of the state.
Maybe it's not that far of a drive. I don't know.
Vegas, baby. I think it's like 6 hours, 7 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Might be 4. I don't know.
In their defensive backfield, they also lost, this one's great, James Bradbury, who they always put on Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
Gone.
Went to the Giants. That was a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. They extended Cole Luke 1 year. I don't know him. And then they've got Ross Cockrell and Javian Elliott, former Buccaneer, still unsigned. So they're not bringing those guys back, probably.
Man, wow. Man, they're signing a bunch of kind of no-name guys.
Yeah.
4.5 hours, that's how long it is from Los Angeles, California to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Is that a flight, though, or a drive?
Well, it's a picture of a car, so...
Oh, right. We'll go with the car.
Maybe it's a flying car.
Maybe it's a flying car.
We can't understand emojis.
Whatever. So that is the state of free agency in Carolina.
Sounds great to me.
I know, me too.
I'm very happy with the way things are working out for the Panthers.
Rebuild.
I wish them luck this year, and by luck, I mean bad luck.
I mean, these rebuilds, they just don't...
They are black cats, after all.
You can't do it in a year.
Panthers, black cats, bad luck.
Yes.
It doesn't even sound like they're really trying to rebuild to me. It sounds like they're just plugging guys into spots. I think they are.
I
think
mean,
they're...
I don't know, though. I mean, you get rid of basically your whole defensive line. You're replacing all your wide receivers. Your whole offensive line.
Your whole defensive line.
It's a rebuild.
But they're not rebuilding these guys. I mean, they're just plugging people in. I don't know.
Scrubs.
Yeah.
Well, that's all they can afford.
Because they can't bounce their checkbook.
I know. They're operating on credit cards.
Bank of America needs to take them in under their wing. Yeah, I'm not upset about it. That's for sure. I think it's great news. I think they're on the right path to help the Buccaneers. Yeah, so it's just really great news for the Buccaneers. I'm happy with the way everything has turned out this offseason. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been a great offseason, probably the best offseason I can remember.
Oh, that's not a good thing, though. We don't want to win the offseason. I don't know. I think when you get Tom Brady, you kind of win the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely win the offseason when you get Tom Brady. But, I mean, there's a possibility he could stink the joint up, but I think it's a very, very, very low possibility.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like the stakes are really high, and I am a little nervous.
I'm not. I'm extremely excited just to see what happens. But I have all the confidence in the world that it's just going to be an awesome year. I mean, our defense looked spectacular to me at the end of the year, the last half of the year. I love our defensive line. We kept them together. I love our linebackers, kept them together. Our secondary really, 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 really started showing up. I mean, just they were amazing at the last half of the year, doing some incredible stuff back there. We've got elite wide receivers. Now we have the GOAT. I just can't. It's impossible for us to screw this up.
Famous last words. That's what I'm saying. Like,
hey, on paper, we're the bomb. Do people even say that anymore?
No.
When was that popular? Like the 90s?
When people play Dungeons and Dragons.
But before they watched Harry Potter, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, nerd. You're a nerd. Harry Potter. I'm surprised you don't have a little lightning bolt tattooed on your forehead. That was like one of our first dates. We sat in the house and watched all the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You put me through that.
You're trying to get my pants.
It worked. If I would have known all it taken was a cheeseburger, I would have had to suffer through 17 hours of Harry Potter. And then we went and saw the one Harry Potter movie live. When it first came out, we drove an hour and a half away so we could see it in IMAX in 3D. So, hey, I was really trying to get my pants.
I can't see the 3D. Like, I have no depth perception, so those glasses don't work.
Now you tell me.
I know.
This is fucking 10 years later you're going to tell me this stuff. So I shelled out all that money for nothing?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, all right, so next time we're going to have the who?
I don't know. Who should I do next? Falcons or Saints?
Let's do the Falcons. Let's go in order of crappiness.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We'll do the Falcons.
So we'll try to have that as our next podcast, maybe, unless we have some interesting news. And we'll probably do it anyhow.
Yeah, and I hope to do it by the end of the week. We've gotten comments. People miss us.
Yeah, we're only doing the one podcast a week.
I know.
It feels weird. I'm not used to it. But we've been very busy, this being locked up in the house. You're saying you're not as productive as you are at work, but we're constantly busy. I mean, we don't relax like we used to. Like we're constantly doing stuff. And it just seems, I don't know how this has gotten away from us. But also, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with the Buccaneers or football in general. But we try to keep this podcast strictly Buccaneers news, Buccaneers related news, so we don't go into all the stuff going on in the other divisions and all that mess. So, it really limits us on what we have to talk about. And Matt, just reading the articles, every day, it's just really, there's a lot of opinion pieces.
There's so much conjecture and speculation. But it just occurred to me that the draft is in like 2 weeks.
And Goodell's going to do it from his basement, from what I hear.
Is his wife and kids going to boo him?
Who was it that said that?
I know, I totally stole that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, well, this is the first time that he will have a draft where he doesn't get booed.
He's going to be pushing for this every year.
It would be so funny, and he would go such a long way to establish a relationship with the fans if he had like a little button he could press where every time he went up there, when he got in front of the microphone to say something, he pressed it and it was like boos.
Yeah, you know what?
Like a soundboard.
I think it would be funnier if he did like an applause.
That would be funny. In your face. Yeah.
He would definitely push for that every year then.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Till next time.
Go Bucks.